Five top secret moon mission you've probably never heard about. While most of us are familiar with the Apollo missions, there was a number of highly classified missions planned in the last 60 years or so. This awesome video, scroll down, talks about 5 top secret moon mission you've probably never heard about. The Apollo program was without a doubt one of the most successful missions in the history of US space exploration. However, it wasn't the only project. Even though we are in the 21st century, and there is an ample amount of images and media available from the Apollo mission, many people still believe the Apollo missions never made it to the moon. However, the truth is that there were many more missions that most of us never heard of. The truth is that even before the Apollo program was launched by the United States, the country's intelligence and defense agencies were cooking up a plan for building a military outpost on the surface of the moon. The mystery base on the far side of the moon. Both the Soviets and the US wanted the upper hand when it came to space exploration. Intrigued by the incredible remote viewing experiments of Indigo Swan and researchers at the Stanford University, the CIA wanted to fund a special project that would help them uncover the secrets of an alleged Soviet or extraterrestrial base located on the far side of the moon. During one of the remote viewing sessions in 1970, Indigo Swan claimed to have seen a number of alien constructions on the far side of the moon, a mining operation and a large colony of people. Project Horizon, a US military outpost on the moon. In this unclassified document, you can find out more about one of the most revolutionary projects created by the government. The goal of Project Horizon was to develop techniques in moon-based surveillance of the Earth and space, in communications relay, and in operations on the surface of the moon, to serve as a base for exploration of the moon, for further exploration into space and for military operations on the moon if required, and to support scientific investigations on the moon. The outpost was supposed to be of sufficient size to contain equipment and permit the survival and moderate, constructive activity of a minimum number of personnel, about 10-20, on a sustained basis. The idea was that the military base should be powered by 2 nuclear reactors, allowing enough energy to eventually expand the base, conquering Earth's satellites step by step. All of this was proposed in 1959, and if we had the technology to achieve all of this over a decade ago, imagine what governments around the world are capable of today. This project was kept classified until 2014. One of the most important and secretive missions to the moon was labeled Project A119. During 1958, a joint effort between the Central Intelligence Agency and the United States Air Force proposed a set of supposedly benign lunar research flights. However, many people were unaware that the program even existed, and only a few had knowledge of the true goal of Project A119. It was created with the sole purpose of analyzing the feasibility of delivering a nuclear device to the surface of Earth's moon. Full details of the study were presented by Dr. Leonard Raffel, who led the project in 1958 from a research foundation financed by the United States Army. Carl Sagan joined the research team responsible for the investigation of theoretical effects of a nuclear explosion in low gravity. Sagan revealed his participation in the plan in 1959. Project A119 was never carried out, probably because the landing the first man on the moon would contain a better reception from the US population than detonating a nuke on the moon, which would have kick-started a space militarization era. But Project A119 wasn't the only project. Kidnapping a Soviet spacecraft and a great idea by the CIA. The space race was on, and both countries were desperate to gain an advantage over one another. In order to gain it, the CIA was enlisted in 1960 to hijack a Lunik spacecraft from the Soviet space program. But the US wouldn't have come up with that idea probably if the Soviet Union wasn't showing off the Lunik upper stage on exhibition, displaying their industrial power. At one point, the spacecraft was in Mexico City where it was left unguarded, and during the transportation of the spacecraft, CIA operatives managed to divert the truck that was carrying the spacecraft into a junkyard so that the mighty Soviet space probe could be photographed. Interestingly, the spacecraft was studied, photographed and completely disassembled and returned to the Soviet transport without anyone noticing it was gone. Apollo 18, 19, and 20. The Apollo program was without a doubt one of the most successful missions in the history of US space exploration. But why did NASA stop at Apollo 17 when things were marching so smoothly? The better question many have asked is, and did they actually stop? Interestingly, NASA had 3 more missions planned after Apollo 17, Apollo 18, 19 and 20, but the alleged missions never took place. The movie Apollo 18 has quite a few details that many UFO researchers support, proving a good point according to some. The Apollo 18 mission was planned and was meant to land on the Copernicus crater, but various landing sites were given and was changed to Schroeder's Valley according to NASA OMSF, Manned Space Flight Weekly report dated July 28, 1969. Apollo 19, which was also planned and discussed to touch down at the Hyginus Rel or Copernicus region, and Apollo 20 was originally destined for the Tycho crater, the Surveyor 7 site, but none of these missions took place, and many of us have wondered why? Why did NASA stop? Was it because of economic and political reasons as some suggest, or was there something more to it? But the above-mentioned projects were only some of the many that were planned. The truth is that numerous other extremely secretive missions were to take place but never took place, and allegedly. This video by YouTube user Dark5 shows us some of the most secretive moon missions, which will help us understand that mankind has been fascinated with the moon for decades, desperately trying to conquer it.